to our 6th webinar in the NextOcean series. This one's called NextOcean is Open for Business. And the agenda for today is a presentation by Peter Toe about NextOcean being open for business and a demonstration online store by Nuno Grosso. So the NextOcean platform provides innovative online services for sustainable fisheries and aquaculture operations by firstly aiming to improve the efficiency and quality of fisheries and aquaculture operations, and also enabling monitoring of environmental quality. And thirdly, offering traceability and verification of catch data to meet the sustainable trade and eco-labelling requirements. So by generating targeted intelligence, NextOcean platform really helps producers boost sustainability through quantifying impacts, optimizing practices, and also safeguarding marine ecosystem health. So at the start of NextOcean, we identified 4 use scenarios where we thought our services might be applied. These include monitoring of fishing activities. So here, fishing companies and monitoring agencies can access maps and statistics showing the location and intensity of fishing activity across the user-specified regions. This intelligence supports informed decisions for optimizing operations and helping to sustainably manage fish stocks, also evaluating the environmental impacts of fishing efforts. Another scenario where our service can be used is monitoring aquaculture. Aquaculture facility owners and coastal regulators can also use NextOcean services to monitor cage locations and their changes over time. The service facilitates regular monitoring of environmental quality surrounding facilities, enabling measures to ensure regulatory compliance and minimise environmental impacts. Additionally, warnings of potential pollution incidents or extreme weather events could allow users to implement safeguarding measures and mitigation planning. Services can also be used for sustainable trade and eco-labelling. Here, seafood suppliers and sustainability certifiers can use our services to verify the location and performance of fisheries seeking certification. This substantiates the origin of catches to meet requirements for eco-labelling and fish provenance. And finally, our 4th user scenario is to plan for new aquaculture. So planning agencies and aquaculture developers can utilise NextOcean services to assess site suitability and optimise locations and designs for new facilities. By evaluating risks like pollution events, weather threats and water quality, environmentally sustainable aquaculture expansion can really help to meet food security needs. So there are 6 services currently in offer from NextOcean, and these include the characterisation of fishing areas. This service uses satellite observations to pinpoint productive tuna fishing grounds by identifying temperature fronts which are generally associated with higher productivity and clear waters which are preferred by the visual feeding tuna. By locating likely tuna aggregations, the service helps fishing companies find fishing grounds more efficiently, and this can reduce their costs, emissions from reduced fuel use, and maybe also reduce bycatch. The Fish Provenance and Eco-Labelling service uses AIS data to monitor fishing vessel locations and activities. It provides information on catch origin that can be used for sustainability certification and eco-labelling of seafood products. Service also generates fishing footprint maps showing the intensity of fishing efforts, supporting sustainable fisheries management. The Fisheries Monitoring and Surveillance Service uses radar satellite data to detect all fishing vessels in an area of interest. So by comparing this with AIS identification data, it can reveal vessels that might have turned off their transponders to avoid monitoring, and thus may potentially be involved in illegal activities. And this enables regulatory bodies to more effectively target areas of potential illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. The Monitoring of Aquaculture Structure Service detects and maps fish farms by analysing satellite imagery over time. It generates maps showing the locations and density of cages, buoys and other aquaculture features in an area. And by comparing current and historical maps, changes in aquaculture structures can be monitored to support regulation, navigation safety and insurance services. So the Fish Farm Impact Service models the trajectory of materials emitted from aquaculture sites using a drift model combined with satellite observations of winds and currents. And by predicting dispersal patterns, it generates maps to support mitigation and planning and retrieval of lost equipment. The service can assist farmers in tracking waste and debris so that timely recovery and cleanup can minimise environmental impacts. The Site Risk Assessment Service uses satellite data to provide aquaculture companies with information on potential pollution risks and local environmental conditions. It can detect oil spills that may affect operations, while also mapping parameters like currents, winds, and chlorophyll levels. So, by better understanding environmental and pollution threats, fish farmers can mitigate risks and make evidence-based management decisions. The service can also be used to help identify suitable locations for new aquaculture. So right now, I'd like to hand over to Peter Toe. He's going to give a customer's perspective on the NextOcean store and services. Peter works for the Nova School of Business and Economics in Portugal and is a commercial project manager for NextOcean. And he's leading our go-to-market efforts, including business planning and sales strategy. So I'd like to hand over to Peter. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. I'll just share my slides. Okay, so I'll assume everyone can see, but please shout if you can't. So hello to everyone, and welcome to NextOcean is Open for Business. So as Dawn's mentioned, I'll be speaking about what NextOcean has to offer, why would you use the NextOcean online store, and what can you get from the 6 services in a bit more detail. Thanks for the nice overview, Dawn. I'll go into a bit more detail on each of those. And then I'll close with how to find out a bit more about us. So what does NextOcean offer? So I thought I'd start with a definition because we're in the business of Earth observation. So what is Earth observation? It's defined as the gathering of information about planet Earth's physical, chemical, and biological systems, according to the group on Earth observations. And this information is gathered from various methods, including satellite data, which is the main focus of the NextOcean project, but also airborne data like weather balloons and aircraft, and in situ data, which is collected from sensors on the ground or in the ocean. And we use a combination of satellite and some in situ data also to produce data services in fisheries and aquaculture. So why would you use satellite data? I apologize for this grainy image. I took it from Google Maps. It's taken from the coast of Greece, showing a fish farm. And well, typically a fish farmer would be focused on its area where the farm is located, and it would have plenty of in situ measures being taken, recording various things to monitor and manage their activities. But it does beg the question, what's happening out at sea, tens or hundreds of kilometers away, and does that potentially impact on my fish farm? Maybe not right now, but perhaps in some hours or days' time, you need to be aware of what's happening elsewhere. This is really where satellite data comes into play. It allows you to efficiently monitor very large areas remotely. Satellites also collect quite a wide range of data, more than you might think, and you can combine it with in situ data to generate a complete picture. It doesn't need to be seen as a replacement, it's complementary, and it gives you a lot more information to understand really what's going on and what do I need to be aware of. And also, particularly in the fisheries industry, how do I cover such a large area of ocean? So why would you use the NextOcean online store for your Earth observation data services? So what we're doing in this project is to create this online store to make it easier for end users to access Earth observation data. So the raw Earth observation data is not very easy for a typical end user to use. It requires knowledge and expertise. So that's what we have here in NextOcean. We have some service providers shown here that take this Earth observation data, gather it, clean it, process it, model it, and produce forecasts, and turn all that data into some usable and valuable final data products that are then made available online via the NextOcean online store. And this facilitates the final step, which is for users to get their hands on this information quickly and easily. So that's how NextOcean facilitates the uptake of Earth observation data and provides value to the end users. So what are the benefits of using the NextOcean online store? There are several. It's a one-stop shop for your Earth observation data with ocean applications, particularly in fisheries and aquaculture. So you needn't look across multiple different niche providers. You can find all your needs in one place. We're starting off with the 6 initial services as Dawn presented at the beginning, but we are looking to expand in the future. So this will become an online supermarket for Earth observation data products. And they will be offering standardized on-demand services, which you can download instantly. And these services will give you an online instant quotation for a baseline price for the services that are readily available to download in the store. But of course, in reality, the standardized service doesn't always fit all of the needs of customers. So we also offer customization options where we'll happily speak to anyone about adapting any of the services, whether it's applying it to a different area that's not been covered geographically, or tweaking some of the way that it works to show some different or additional information not captured currently in the standard version. So we are very much open to customization. The store allows for quick and easy online transactions. So you can browse, define your area of interest and your time period, and make the order and make the payment online, and also download the data from the web as well. And there are different options for doing this. There's data visualization through the Geo portal, one of the NextOcean parts of the website. You can visualize the data. You can also download data files to then visualize yourself using your preferred software, for example, QGIS or Google Earth. And then finally, you could use the API for machine-to-machine data extraction and processing for a direct link into your own systems. And finally, we are looking to bundle services together so that you can have a complete and cost-effective solution where one transaction can potentially cover more than one service provider. So where there are services that overlap each other, and you will see that shortly, then we can combine the services and make that easier rather than having to make separate transactions. So Nuno will give a demonstration of the store after I've finished, but these are the aspects that make it quite an attractive proposition for gathering data insights in fisheries and aquaculture. So now I'll move on to some of the detail around the services. What can you get out of them, and why might you be interested in purchasing any of them? So I'm going to go one by one, and I'll start off with the fisheries monitoring and surveillance service. And as Dawn mentioned, the service uses satellite images, SAR satellite images, to detect vessels. And once these vessels are detected, we do a matching process with AIS data, and we see if there's a match or not. So we start off with all of the blue dots, all of them vessels, and we're matching with the AIS to see if do we know about it? Do we have information on this? Are they reporting themselves? Or if there's no AIS and no match, then they are unknown. And that represents a bit of a red flag to investigate potential illegal activity. So who is this service for? Well, it's predominantly targeted to coast guards and maritime police who can monitor and identify suspicious vessel behavior to investigate further. It enables cost-effective prioritization of activities against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and other illegal activities. And we also target the fisheries management organisations who can gain a better insight into suspected IUU fishing in the organisation's area of jurisdiction. This helps them to make better informed, evidence-based decisions and policies. And we also have conservation organisations who can target their protection efforts to the areas most at risk of overexploitation from IUU fishing. So that's the first service. I'll now move on to fish provenance and eco-labelling, which, as you can see from this output from the service, it's identifying vessel tracks using AIS data. In this example, it's the Azores Islands. And it's using an algorithm to detect where the vessel is fishing and not fishing. In other words, traveling between locations. And by doing this, you can obviously track the fishing activity of individual vessels. And then this data can be aggregated. And then when you plot several vessel activities on top of each other, you can create an aggregated map like this that shows fishing intensity. So you can see here in the same location, the darker red represents areas of the ocean that are more intensively fished. That one we call the fishing footprint. The first one is fishing trips for the vessels, individual vessels, and this aggregated view is called fishing footprint. So who is interested in this type of data? Well, for the individual vessel level data, the fishing trips, certification organizations would be interested in that data to help to certify fish provenance remotely without human intervention, notably onboard observers. NextOcean offers a reliable, independent and cost-effective form of certification. And as we know, fishing companies can then benefit from higher prices for certified catch. Then we have commercial fishing companies who can monitor individual vessels within their fishing fleet to track catch locations and time spent fishing. And using our aggregated historical analysis, it can help to understand the most efficient areas over time in combination with their own catch data. Then we have fisheries management organisations who can monitor large areas for levels of fishing intensity historically and in near real time. NextOcean can supply cost-effective monitoring data for sustainable fisheries management. We can also address the needs of policing and conservation, and here the use case is to better identify areas of potential IUU fishing and encroachment into marine protected areas. And finally, another use case is the fisheries consultant who can use our fishing footprint data to factor in fishing areas when analysing potential locations for offshore wind farms. So as you can see, there's a range of uses for this service. Moving on to the third fisheries service is characterisation of fishing areas and its mapping of ocean fronts, and then using that data to predict the potential fishing areas for tuna currently in the Northeast Atlantic, and in this case, you can see it's off the coast of Portugal. So in this service, we are addressing the needs of commercial fishing companies by providing captains with intelligence on where and when they may find productive tuna fishing areas. And this can lead to increased efficiency of fishing operations, reducing time spent at sea, fuel costs and carbon emissions by shortening the search for fishing grounds. There is also a potential reduction in bycatch from more targeted fishing. And this service is also for fisheries management organisations who may benefit from the service. The time and location of tuna nursery grounds can vary with changes in oceanic conditions, and this service provides the data to understand these environmental changes, which are key for the standardisation of fish catches and accurate stock assessment. And for the fisheries consultant or service provider, a consultant might advise on stock sampling locations for fisheries management and conservation organisations, while a service or software provider can provide intelligence to commercial fishing companies to support optimal fishing activities, as I've just described. On to site risk assessment. So this is the first of our 3 services aimed more towards aquaculture. And to start with, I'm showing you some maps from the NextOcean service, which is a range of information, for example, sea surface temperature on the left and chlorophyll concentration on the right, but also wind and waves, etc. And that service is also complemented by oil spill data, so analysis of satellite imagery to detect oil spills. And in this picture, you can see historical spills in the Ionian Sea being mapped. And also, it's not just the history, but also current monitoring of oil spills. So this is an example of the coast of Malta, where we have some aquaculture operations, and it's obviously important to be aware if there is an oil spill in the area, and take the appropriate actions. And finally, there is also a drift model service to then predict where the oil spill is going to spread, how it will disperse across the sea. This example shows you the time sequence of the drift model for an area in Corsica. So if we look at the use cases for this service, it's primarily for aquaculture companies, where the NextOcean forecasts combined with marine heat wave forecasts and oil spill detections, they allow for the monitoring of extreme conditions and obviously oil spills, so that cages can be secured, protected, and submerged as necessary. And historical data can be used to assess the conditions over a long time period for an area under consideration for a new aquaculture site. And then we have the aquaculture service provider or consultant, and they can address all of those monitoring and assessment needs that I've just mentioned on behalf of the aquaculture company by integrating NextOcean data into their own systems and platforms. And we, NextOcean, are ready to assist with that integration process. Insurance companies may also be interested in using both the NextOcean and oil spill data, which allows them to be better able to assess the risks associated with operating a fish farm. And finally, we have maritime regulatory authorities who may use historical data to assess the long-term conditions for an area under consideration for aquaculture activity, while the oil spill service allows them to assess the impact from maritime traffic on both the environment and human activity in the area, for example, aquaculture and coastal tourism, in order to support regulation and control. So that's the site risk assessment service. Now I'll move on to the fish farm impacts, which is a drift model for pollution emitted from a fish farm. For example, it could be a lost piece of equipment following a storm, for example, or it could also be oil from fish feed. And this will predict the trajectory of that material over time. So the use cases for this service are, again, aquaculture companies who can use the service to take a proactive approach in managing marine litter and oils emitted from fish farms, and therefore demonstrate corporate social responsibility and exceed the standards set by the Aquaculture Stewardship Council. Of course, they may also be interested to retrieve lost materials that have high value, particularly equipment that is reusable. And we also have maritime regulatory authorities who may be interested in monitoring and controlling the impact of fish farms on the marine and coastal environment by understanding how lost gear and fish feed oils disperse across the sea and coastline. So that's fish farm impacts. And last but not least, we have monitoring aquaculture structures. which in this example output that I'm showing is this is off the coast of Greece. It's showing the detection, automatic detection from satellite images of aquaculture structures marked in these red polygons. And I'm going to overlay now the picture on the right with a satellite image to show the detection of the cages. So this is a way to understand how the service works and to validate the output. But of course, when you're doing this, you need to make sure that the time aligns. So the time of the satellite image aligns with the time period of data from the service. But it is a way to validate the results. And you can see quite clearly how it works. So by automatically detecting these structures, you can do this for a very large area very quickly and easily. This output here shows the time comparisons. So we've got cages or structures identified in one period as red and another period in yellow. And then you can see how that changes over time, how the structures move. Some disappear and others emerge, and it allows you to see better the evolution in this example, a very crowded area for aquaculture. So then looking again at the customers for this service, it would be maritime regulatory authorities who would be interested, since the data that shows the density of fish farms can contribute to permit policy and the issuing of new licenses, allowing the control of proliferation of aquaculture activity. They can also ensure that there is no encroachment into restricted areas, for example, marine protected areas. And in addition, the service can help to ensure safe navigation of vessels away from fish farms. And then we also have aquaculture service providers and consultants who may use the data to contribute to analysis and advice on aquaculture permit policy on behalf of those regulatory authorities that I just mentioned. And they can also verify on behalf of those authorities whether there has been any encroachment on MPAs or other restricted areas in their jurisdiction. So that completes the use cases and the benefits for each of the customers of each of the services. So hopefully that's clearer now to understand what each of the services offers and why you might be interested. And I'll just finish off by telling you how you can find out even more about NextOcean and our services. So we have a series of videos which are on our YouTube channel, and you can see the link there. We've got a nice short video for each of the 6 services, so do have a look at those. And all of these webinars from the whole series are also on our YouTube channel as well. You can go direct to the online store itself. The address is shown in the middle there. It's nextocean.services4eo.com, where you can register for a free account, which will allow you to explore the store, see what we have available, and get price quotations also for areas that are available immediately. And you can also find both on the website and the store the fact sheets. So we have some concise 2-page PDFs that you can download and find the more technical detail about the services. And of course, if any of this is interesting to you, then please do speak to us. So you can meet us in person at any time in Lisbon, where we have our sales entity based. But we will also be present in Bremen, Germany at Fish International in February, and also in London at Oceanology International in March. And we're always available via Zoom, phone call, or email. And you can see our email is shown there. So we're always available to have a conversation about your needs, even if they might deviate a little from the standardized services. As I've mentioned, we're open to listen to your requirements, and we may be able to adapt the services to specific use cases. Just to mention also, we are developing a showcase event for the 1st of March. which will be held in multiple locations at the same time across Europe. These will be quite small localized events in person, but also we will make it online for those that are not able to attend. And the purpose of this event is to do some demonstrations and offer you the chance to get some hands-on experience of the store and the services, and obviously to ask and for us to answer all your questions. We're developing the program currently, so please do check back in due course on our website, nextocean.eu. Under the news and event page, we'll publicise there a bit more information about the event. And as I've mentioned, we will be in London in March at Oceanology International. So if you're going to be attending there, we will have a stand. The NextOcean stand is P501. So do make a note of that, and please do come and see us. We'll be more than happy to give you a one-to-one demonstration.
So we'll move on to the demonstration of the online store by Nuno Grosso. He's a senior project engineer who's been working at Deimos for the last 10 years in the development of Earth observation-based applications and data exploitation platforms. During these years, he's worked in several coastal and maritime-related projects, such as eShape and ESA's Atlantic Regional Initiative for Offshore Wind Energy Applications. And he's currently the technical coordinator of NextOcean. So I'd just like to hand over now to Nuno. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to present you a bit, to do a walk through the online store and hopefully highlight some of the functionalities that Peter already went through in his presentation. Go over the different services, how to order a service, what to expect in terms of payment system, all of that, how to reach out to us if you have a problem. So hopefully I can cover all of that in this presentation. Okay. So when you land into the NextOcean store, you through this URL, nextocean.servicesforyou.com, you land in this homepage. We'll have a short explanation of who are we, what are we all about. Then you can go to, so if you have a registered user, as I have now, I've logged in already, you can go to services and you'll find a list of services that are available to you. You can filter those services based on text or based on time of interest or area of interest. So in this case, I'll just highlight for you, for instance, if I put here fisheries, you'll have the ones that refer to fisheries in the description or keywords. Okay, so this is just for you to navigate a bit and filter the services that might be of your interest. In advanced search, you could input a double key T, so it's basically a string that defines geometry, so it defines the area of interest basically, and with that you can see all the services that apply to that area of interest. So if you define that area of interest for your specific area of interest, you can see all the services that do cover that area of interest currently. Okay. So if you're interested in one of the services, let's say for instance the fishing footprint, you can enter that. You can see that in the previous panel, you have a really short the naming of the service, the current version, a short description, some keywords associated with that, and information on the provider. Okay, if you enter, you'll be able to find more detailed information on the service. So again, the service title, the description, keywords, what type of processing, what type of service interface you have, a documentation link. This links you to what Peter already described as the fact sheet, so the data sheet for the service. So I can open here, you have PDF where you can have more information, more systematized information about the product that you're about to receive. You have also information about the versioning, the license, if it's commercial or if it's free. There might be free services available. And then the pricing. And the pricing that we have here for this one is 14 euros per month. So it scales, the price scales per month. So every month will cost you 14 euros. And every 10,000 square kilometers will also cost you 14 euros. So it will scale by both the area of interest and the time of interest. The provider, as I said, is Deimos, and you have access to a service sample. So, and that service sample will have the same structure as the output that you'll have from your service. So if we go to, let me open it. So I have one here available. So what you'll find there is a zip file, similar to the output that you get of the service, and a README text. The README text, if you enter it, basically provides you with info on the output that you're about to navigate through. So this file contains information about the inputs used to run FBE. So these are the inputs related with the run that generated this output. And then it provides you with information on the different contents of the output. So it's a zip file that will contain two files, one TIFF, one XML. It will provide you with a small description of what you can find there. Okay. Going back to the store, you'll have you go to the next step. So you can also, once you've tested it, you can also provide some evaluation of the service. You can pass them to the next step, to the instructions tab, or if I detailed instructions on how to run that service. Take a look at it. Take time to really understand how to trigger that service. It will provide not only the steps towards it, so the parameters that it requires, all of that, but also to input the AOI, the TOI. If the service has some limitations regarding maximum time of interest or area of interest, it will provide that. So for instance, for this one, you're only able to request a maximum of 300,000 square kilometers. And so that's the maximum AOI, area of interest. And the maximum TOI, time of interest, is 3 months. So for each request that you do, you'll only be able to request this amount, okay? Then it also provides you with some indication. This is information that we gathered with the service providers, of what should be the expected delivery time of the service. So for your maximum order for this service, you should expect it to be ready in a maximum of 3 hours. Those are guidelines, just for you to understand a bit what to expect. Then you go to the order interface, and in the order interface, you have tools to define your AOI, so area of interest, your time of interest, and the different parameters associated with the service. In this case, because it's a service that scales per month, we already saw, to define the time of interest, you'll have to define a start date. I can go to 2018. To July, to the 1st of July, and then automatically the time of interest is set to 1 month, or you can go up to 2, 3. So in this case, 3 will be the maximum for the time of interest, but it will always scale per month, because so even if you were interested in a time period that's like 1.5 months, you still be paying for the 2 months. So to be clear, to have a clear way to communicate with you, that you get the most out of your request, we already provide in the interface a limitation where you can only request on a monthly basis, okay? And then you can define a polygon. So this is the way to define a polygon. In the last point, you need to click twice to close the polygon. You have instructions here on how to do that. You have then an indication of your area, okay? And you'll have a double key that you can copy if you want to have an idea of the area of interest that you've chosen, okay? Then you have the parameters required to run this. In this case, it's a fishing footprint service. This was covered by PIT. It provides you with an idea of the hours of fishing activity that took place within that area for, this is a raster, so it's per pixel information. So within the grid, it will provide you like every, depending on the parameter that you choose, let's say 1 kilometer per each 1 kilometer, how many hours of fishing activity took place within that pixel, okay? So that's the first parameter that you see here, the grid spatial data. In this case, let's put 10. And then you can search for the fishing footprint of all vessels within that area, or you can search for the fishing activities of one particular vessel based on their MMSI, if you know that information. In this case, we select all. Then you can also filter them, not by MMSI, but by fishing technique, if you are more interested in seeing fishing activity for one specific fishing technique. In this case, I can also put all. If you're interested in filtering all the vessels that belong to a certain, that have the flag, the registration flag from a certain country, you can also do so. And then based on the vessel length, you can also filter your data based on the vessel length. Okay, based on your choices. In this case, because the service only scales for area of interest and time of interest, it will be based on these two choices that you make. You'll have an estimated price of the service. Okay. Once you order it, it will go to the My Orders, and I'll show that in a minute. Before going to that My Orders, let me first point you to the Ask for a Customized Service. In here, basically, so you have the current conditions I didn't mention, but you can see the area in green here is the area for which the service is currently available, okay? When you choose a time of interest, you'll be limited to the time of interest where the service is available also. If you require a service that is outside the time of interest, that's outside of the area of interest, or if you have an interest for other information than the one that the service currently provides, you can ask for a customized service, okay? You have a set of instructions here on how to do that. This will open basically, I can do that right now, hopefully. I think I logged in, so yeah. So this opens directly to our service desk, and you'll be able to open a ticket requesting for customization of that service, providing all necessary information that you need for that customization. Okay. In the future, in future evolutions of the NextOcean online store, you'll have the opportunity to already have a pre-filled ticket with the parameters that you might have filled in here. Okay. So let's say that you are ready. You can click order. And that will go to the My Orders tab, and you'll see your order, your latest order here in the My Orders list. Okay, so you have a list of all orders previously created by you. So in here you'll find the fishing footprint as created. You can go over different parameters that you have. So they are the time of interest, the area of interest. You'll have the map here. For the characterization, so you have others, and then what you'll see, so this is currently processing. Once it has processed, you will arrive to the payment interface. In this case, you just have to, so basically here we have a previous order that we did, that's where the payment is pending. So if you do pay now, you'll have PayPal as an option. Let's see, I think I've copy-pasted already this, so hopefully this is correct. You can log in. And you can complete the purchase of this service, okay? I won't do it, but you can complete it, and you'll be able to then access the service. Let me see, I think, so then it will take a while to process the payment, and once it's processed the payment, you'll have the interface as you see here. So basically then you'll be able to do details and downloads, and you'll be able to download the data, okay? So you'll see it as you see it here. You have service description, how to access, if you want to visualize the data in the Geo portal, and the data download. This is the way we, so as Peter said in his previous presentation, we are a data supplier. So this is our expected way for you to, we expect you to download the data. You can download all of the data via a metaphor file that indexes all the different outputs, and that you can download at once all the files, or you can go one by one and download one by one. But then this is our, because basically you want to work with the data and not to visualize data. But we do have the portal for you to be able to visualize the data. So I've picked one example here of the fishing footprint for a previous order. So you'll be able to navigate to the different orders. So you have here on the fishing footprints the different orders that were created for this user. One of those is this one that I'm showing, and you'll be able to visualize it. So once you've clicked on the layer, you'll have access to the timeline. Where you have points is where we'll have data available. When you click one of those points, this will zoom into the layer extent, and you can see the data with the corresponding legend. The idea behind Show Portal is not to provide a visualization tool for you to analyze any type of. This is to provide you with a quick check, with a quick look, browse through the data to understand if this is indeed what we're expecting, and then you can go to the download and really dig into the download part and in the data that you were hoping to get from the service. Okay, I think this covers all. Then so I already talked about it in the ask for a customized service. But if you are a user, you also have access to the service task, as I said. And in that service task, you'll be able to open tickets whenever you have a problem triggering your service. So whatever, or even if you have a suggestion for that service or for the online store in general, feel free to contact us. You have different types of tickets. So if you have an incident or a problem, a billing or pricing, questions or service feedback, so you can provide suggestions. You can open any one of those, fill in a ticket, and send it. So I can open it here. So in this, then you have different types of sub problems. In this case, it's technical issues and bugs, let's say. And you have to provide a summary, a description, which are the services that you had a problem with, how urgently this needs to be fixed, and then how big of an impact of the problem to you and your organization. Once you describe that, this will be received by our operations team, will then have workflows to reply to you and as quick as possible. Okay. So this is a bit a walk through the current version of the NextOcean online store within the project, and the project is it will end only in July. You'll see other releases being continuously evolving the online store, and beyond that, beyond the project also. So we expect some news from us and expect some evolutions of the online store. Hopefully that's all. I don't know if I forgot any aspect of it, but feel free to ask some questions if you want.
So I'd just like to say thank you so much to Peter and Nuno for your contributions today. And we hope to see you at another NextOcean event shortly. Thanks so much.